Well, now we turn to Project Immigration. Hundreds of demonstrators marched outside the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency yesterday, demanding congressional action on immigration reform. Many of them were arrested. This comes as some states continue to struggle with what to do with the influx of unaccompanied children coming across the border. Is the government sharing enough information with the public? Cheryl Atkinson with an in-depth look in this Project Immigration report.
The government has abruptly shut down operations at Fort Sill in Oklahoma and 2 other military bases that sheltered more than 7,700 minors the government refers to as unaccompanied alien children.
Thousands of the minors have been transferred to 150 shelters across the country, mostly group homes run by nonprofits. But try to find out exactly where, and the government won't answer. Not the public, not reporters, not even Congress.
I mean, this is a serious local community impact.
Dan Stein heads up the Federation for American Immigration Reform, which opposes illegal immigration.
Do you think under the law the government has a right to keep the location of these minors secret?
It's outrageous. Now this administration is telling the American people and Congress that we're not even entitled to know where these people are, where they're being held, what communities are going to be impacted.
We compiled a list of more than 100 shelters around the U.S. said to be housing the children, places like Boys Town, Cutler Bay, Florida, Brazoria County Youth Home, Freeport, Texas, and Ridgeview Youth Center, Watkins, Colorado. There are proposals to start up dozens more shelters. That doesn't count the 37,000-plus minors already released to family members or sponsors. The most impacted states are Texas with more than 5,000, New York, California, and Florida about 4,000 apiece, and more than 2,800 each in Maryland and Virginia. Critics say the government is improperly keeping details secret to avoid negative publicity and protests like this one in Birmingham, Alabama. Nonprofit BCFS cited negative backlash as the reason it walked away from a reported plan to convert this Texas hotel into housing with $50 million tax dollars. Senator Charles Grassley questioned the cost, which he said worked out to $166,000 a year per child. Nobody from the Department of Health and Human Services would answer our questions. Its website says, quote, "We cannot release information about individual children that could compromise the child's location or identity." At a demonstration in Washington this week, supporters of undocumented immigrants weighed in.
If communities feel that they want to know where kids are being held and what's going on, I think that they do have a right to know. That said, there have been safety concerns about these children in certain communities that have displayed a lot of racism.
There is a difference when you're dealing with adults versus minors, and there are other added protections that should be taken into account.
Stein agrees personal information should be protected, but not locations of groups.
Clearly, a member of Congress can't do his or her job in representing constituents unless that person knows where people are being taken and where they're going to be held and where they're going to be released.
Wherever the children end up when they're released from the shelters, they're entitled to community health and social services, as well as public education at local schools already struggling with stretched budgets. Investigating Washington, I'm Cheryl Atkinson reporting.